There was no team that won as much last year in the regular season than the Tampa Bay Lightning. Then, over a 7-day stretch, they lost 4 straight to the Jackets, eliminated, swept in the first round. Their words after that series loss resonate. For post-game reaction, let's start with Steven Stamkos.
I don't know what to tell you right now. I mean, we obviously didn't have the answers. They executed, obviously, a pretty detailed game plan to slow us down, and we didn't really have a response to it.
In today's game with the parity, like it's not unusual that a 8 beats a 1 anymore. Everybody's that close, and it was, in the end, it's just we just couldn't find our game.
I traded emails with Jon Cooper this summer. He couldn't have been more forthright or magnanimous. The regular season was truly extraordinary. Look at all those firsts. That means they were very, very good. The playoff loss in sweep fashion, absolutely stunning. That rocked all of hockey. I think about the job security of Jon Cooper, coming off talking about the job security of Mike Babcock. There's no way his job could be in jeopardy, right?
I don't think so. I think that Jon is a very smart guy. He has one specific task, in my opinion, this year for this team, and that is to instill more defensive structure. They just gave up too many chances last year. They've got a great decor, certainly the pieces in their big three, of course, Hedman, McDonough, and even Sergachev, but they've got to get more commitment from the team to play defense on a nightly basis. We know how much they can score, Rupper. They remind me of the Caps of like 7, 8, 9 years ago when they were great in the regular seasons and they never really got it done in the playoffs until recently. That's where the Lightning are at. If they can clean that up, if they can forget about how many points Kucherov scores or Stamkos or anybody else, and I know those players, they don't care about points. They do what they do. But if you can get them to give up a little bit, to be more solid defensively, they will have tremendous success like they have. They know it. They've been to the finals, this group, but they'll be back, or at least have a chance to be back, and you won't see what happened last year in the first round. Make no mistake. The Columbus Blue Jackets, tip your cap. They were awesome in the first round last year.
Rupper, he mentioned defensive structure. If you look beyond that camera, somewhere Anton Stralman is nodding. He made that exact same point. Now, he doesn't play for the team anymore. How do they achieve more defensive structure and pay more attention at that end?
It's about paying attention to those things, but not forgetting who you are, too. This team has to drive offense. So how do you find that, you balance that line? We don't want to take away from our strengths to fill in our deficiencies. And that's going to be very big for this team. But Jon Cooper's job is safe, I believe. There's no question about that. And like you mentioned, Lots, the one thing before that sweep in the first round, I mean, Jon Cooper, the way he kept this team competing, they didn't limp into the playoffs. They had a really good record going into the playoffs. Right. You're talking about a very good and a top end, one of the coaches of the year. And this happened. You've got players. You got Nikita Kucherov, who was outplayed by, you can say, Matt Duchene in the first round. You can have Sergei Bobrovsky outplayed Andrei Vasilevsky. So you have players now that were underachieving come that time. But the bottom line, the thing that's different for me than looking back to what they were and labeling them as the Washington Capitals are, when you look at this team, they're going to have the coach of the year or somebody in the running every year. They're going to have a Vezina finalist every year. They're going to have a Norris finalist every year. They're going to have an MVP every year. I mean, this team is loaded. They are loaded at all positions. They ain't going anywhere. They're going to be the team to beat the National Hockey League.
Lots, what about Vasilevsky? He burst on the scene in the 2015 Cup final. He comes on in relief of Ben Bishop, in relief in one game, starts one game at the age of 20. Since then, he's been so far ahead of the curve, had that great year last year winning the Vezina. What does he do for an encore?
I think you're going to continue to see what you've seen from him. He's a very consistent goaltender, and the fact of the matter is that, last year, even though the Lightning was so dominant offensively, they had such a great year, he still was amazing. Yeah. I know he was injured. I know he didn't play maybe as many games as people might expect him to play, but that was due to injury. But the fact is, when he did play, sensational. Dominant. He was the best goaltender in the National Hockey League, and it wasn't a cakewalk for him. A lot of people just assumed because they were so dominant, well, how can you give it to him? he didn't really see. Yes, he did. He saw a ton
He saw
of quality
stuff
shots.
he probably shouldn't have seen.
Exactly the point, and that's what I believe they need to clean up. You're not going to win in the playoffs by relying that, because there's so much chance. If he's off just a little bit, then it's over. And last year, the fact of the matter is the Tampa Bay Lightning, they were about, I don't know, 4 or 5 minutes from that being a totally different series.
They were up 3-0.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they just couldn't get
Game 1.
deep enough into the game to snuff out any possibility, and the whole world turned upside down.
Fascinating.